everyone, my name is Marta Szeluga Romańska and I work as a lecturer in the Department of Management at Gdańsk University of Technology. Today we're going to focus on the communicational processes and try to consider if that is possible not to communicate at all. What does it mean to communicate actually? Not just to show the message, but also to build relations, to lead to some common activities or jobs that have to be done. As we look at that basic scheme, we can easily notice that there are two sides in the whole process: senders and receivers of the message. If one side is missing, the communication makes no sense. Can you imagine a lecture with no students? Or better, a theater performance without an audience? Communication can be one way when it happens between the people who know exactly what to do, as this is based on strict procedures, algorithms, norms, like in the army, for example. But communication can also be two-way, when brainstorming is needed, creativity is needed. No matter how we communicate, there are always three dimensions. The content, which we build into the proper form. For example, the manager sends an email with some tasks listed to be done during the whole workday. Every time the communication takes place is based on the social relations that we have with other people, no matter if they are formal or informal. The form and the content are always adjusted to those relations. There are several types of communication, but we will focus on one division only: verbal and non-verbal communication. By the verbal one, we receive just about 7% of the emotions from the message. The other 93% is received by a multidimensional non-verbal type of communication. It contains several layers like gestures, or the eye contact that we register both consciously and unconsciously with our mind. The nonverbal communication contains the context of the message. Kinesics, which means the gestures, body language, or face expressions. Paralanguage, tone of the voice, time we need to communicate, or the pace of speaking. Oculesics, which means the eye contact. Autopresentation. Proxemics, which is physical distance. Haptics, which is the touch. Environment around us. The chronemics, the perception of time. Let me explain some of them. The context is like the elephant perceived in the story by blind man. Each of them stood by different part or element of the elephant and touched it to understand what the elephant really is. Whatever they touched, was it a head or a tail or a leg, that was the way they understood the elephant. The same happens to the context. Wherever you are in the communication process, that could be the way that you perceive and understand the message. In communication processes, we try to ensure the context of the sender and receiver is similar, if not identical. Gestures enable you to show even strong emotions without a word said. They can be useful sometimes, but also tricky, as they are deeply rooted in the national cultures and can mean absolutely different things or emotions in different countries. Body language seems to be mostly important in public situations. It also helps in sharing the emotions, but sometimes reveals what we would really like to hide. But to understand facial expressions, we sometimes require not just interpersonal training, but also intercultural experience. As there are about 70 face muscles, and we use them as we're culturally taught to show or not the real emotions. Paralanguage are all the sounds that we make while communicating, all the pauses, all the sides we make that reveal our true emotions. Also the pace and the volume of our voice, which, if exaggerated, can be a real barrier to the whole process of communication. Oculesics means all the messages we send just by using our sight. The example can be the eye contact. It is a situation when the people at least look at each other. Considering Angelina and Brad here, there is surely a message sent like, he's mine, but I wouldn't call it a mutual contact. That is eye contact. The other dimension of nonverbal communication is auto-presentation. It means the message we send to the whole world by the way we show our image. In the picture, we can see an older man, a bit sad or maybe tired, but he soon appears to have a good sense of humor. In the case of public people, like politicians, the auto-presentation is conscious and intentional. It is worth to remember that. Each photo, information, detail actually builds a whole picture of a strong alpha male, for example, or a warrior, or a sweet pet lover. Proxemics explains the meaning of the physical distance we keep while communicating with the others. It is our very individual perception, but to some extent also taught by our national culture. By the touch, or better, if we touch the others, we can express our emotions and intentions, like love or hatred or respect to somebody or lack of respect to somebody. And the environment around also spreads the message. For example, how we prefer to work. In a tidy or messy place, in perfect order, or in creative chaos. Also, the way we perceive time states a message we spread to the world. If we are on time for the meeting or always late, that can make a difference how we are treated by, for example, our business negotiation partner. So, if communication is mostly our behavior, is it possible not to communicate? Well, is it possible not to breathe